This is Joe with Cloud First Labs. It is important to be able to invoke MuleSoft RPAs dynamically, and this video is part one of a two-part series showing how to invoke an RPA dynamically via HTTP call. I'm going to use Postman. We're going to start out in Anypoint platform, and to start out, we're going to create the credentials that we need to be able to call the RPA as an API. So I'm going to come to access management as a first step. You need organization admin access to be able to do this. But I'm going to come here to connected apps, and I'm going to create a connected app. I'm going to give this a name, set it to client credentials, and add scopes. I'm going to find RPA invocable process scope, add it for my business group, save this. This is going to create that set of credentials, that connected app. I'm going to go ahead and copy this ID and paste it onto my other screen for later. We'll use this in part two. We'll also use the secret in part two of this video series. But anyway, that created the credentials. Now, let's navigate back to Anypoint platform. Now we're going to go into RPA Manager. And we are going to move an RPA process from the test phase into the production phase. So I'm going to come in here to Process Automation, Process Management. I'm going to navigate into the RPA process that I care about. In my case, it's get widget data from legacy inventory site. And I'm going to publish this into production. I'm going to confirm that it should be released to production. And now it spins. And okay, we now have a production phase RPA process ready to go. And I'm going to get rid of this original configuration so I can create a new one. We're going to create an invocable run configuration. I'm going to name it my new configuration. Okay, this sets the values for the activity parameters on the input. If you don't set these values here, it will take whatever the default values were in the RPA builder, which is what is set here. Also, we will have the chance in part two, when we call this from Postman, we can override these. These are just our default activity parameter input values, but in our API call, we will be able to modify those values if we wish. But in this case, hey, these values look good. You don't have any user tasks in this example. It's a good idea when we run to run in a secure session as the default user. That's going to utilize the bot configuration. And now we select a bot or bots for this to run on. I'm going to select bot VM and save and publish. Okay, so we've now published this new run configuration. It's in production phase. Now we need to go and get the URL for this. And to do this, we're going to come back to Anypoint platform. We're going to come into Exchange, and we're going to search. If I wanted to, I could search for widget. That's the name of my RPA process. If I click here on get widget data from legacy inventory site, now I'm going to find the V2 path down here and click on it. V2 is important because we're using connected apps, which utilizes OAuth 2.0, which needs to use this V2 path. And anyway, then I'm going to grab this URL here for start process V2. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to save it off into my notepad on the other screen, and I will use this in part 2 when we actually configure Postman to trigger this RPA API. So these are the steps that are required to make your RPA process invocable via HTTP. Check back in for part 2 for how to actually invoke it via Postman.